A Trinidad Renaissance School Labor Day Story. Authors: Beaker Sturgeon, Alina Lackey. Narrators: Dahlia Marie Fernandez, Dylan Das, Jenny Marie Moore, Viren Saluchan, Kalina Batiste, Ethan Ali, Yadi V. Israel, Israel Rose, Eliana Alexis, Jaya Harnanan, Lanaya Mata. Table of Contents. Chapter 1: Our Ancestors. Chapter 2: Brave Men. Chapter 3: Trade Unions.
Chapter 1: Our Ancestors. This is a story that happened to our ancestors a very long time ago while they worked right here in Trinidad and Tobago. It was around 100 years ago. Some ancestors worked in the oil fields. Some ancestors worked in the sugar fields and factories. Some ancestors worked on the ports and docks. Wherever they worked very hard. They were honest men and women, devoted to their families and trying their best to provide the best life they could for them.
Unfortunately, times were hard. Firstly, workers, for all their hard work, worked for ridiculously small salaries. In fact, quite often, salaries were not enough to cover basic living costs, like food, shelter, and clothing. Secondly, Trinidad was still governed by the British. Only the rich people were allowed to vote, and so there was hardly anyone in government to fight for the rights of the poor hard workers. Thirdly, around 1929, the world went into a period of recession and made life even harder. With money scarce and employers struggling, workers continued to work hard for less money than they deserved. Some workers worked for 7 cents an hour.
It was a sad time indeed. Workers had no rights. They worked for long hours, for little money, in dangerous conditions. If they were sick or hurt, they still had to go to work. If they could not work, they could not get paid. Into this incredibly sad time in our local history arose some brave men of integrity who saw the injustice of all the workers faced and decided to do their part to bring justice and fairness for the workers. These brave men could not sit idly by and allow evil to continue. They decided to fight for the rights of the workers. They worked together with each other in unity to do this, because a bundle of sticks is stronger than one stick.
Chapter 2: Brave Men.
One of these brave men was Arthur Andrew Cipriani. He was known as the champion of the barefoot man. He was a wealthy white man and so became the mayor of Port of Spain on many occasions. Although he did not have to face the harsh working conditions that our ancestors faced, he understood the importance of fighting for the voiceless. He used his power in government to fight for 8-hour workday, a reasonable minimum wage, workers' compensations for injuries that happened at work, old age pensions, the right for everyone to be able to vote for their representatives, and equal rights for women.
Another one of these brave men was Adrian Colarieti. His birth name was Krishna Dionrai, but he changed it to Colarieti in honor of an Italian man who also fought for the rights of the workers in his own country of Italy. He was a lawyer of integrity who defended the rights of the workers. He formed the oil field
Workers' Trade Union and was its first President General.
Yet, another brave man was Uriah Buzz Butler. Buzz Butler was originally from Grenada, but moved to Trinidad to work in the oil fields. He saw for himself the working conditions our own ancestors endured, and decided that he was going to fight for them, no matter the cost. In 1935, he led a hunger march from the oil belt in Point Fortin to Port of Spain. His intent was to bring attention to the plight of workers and demand justice for them.
He organized another strike in 1937, which is famously known as the Butler Riots. He went to jail for 2 years because of the strike, but it did not stop him from continuing to fight for justice and equality. After yet another strike in 1941, he was arrested yet again. Until his death in 1977, he fearlessly fought for justice, and because of his efforts, working conditions were greatly improved for our own ancestors, parents, ourselves, and our future generations to come.
Chapter 3. Trade Unions. Before this man came along, trade unions were illegal. If a man had a complaint against his boss, he had no way to receive justice. Employers knew this and took advantage of workers. Our brave men fought for the right to have trade unions. Trade unions comprise many workers of a particular sector of society. They are built on the belief that they strengthen unity. Trade unions use collective bargaining to influence the government to pass laws for better working conditions.
When trade unions feel there is injustice in the way they are being treated, they can strike or stop working. When many workers strike together, they have the power to shut down the companies they work for, or even the country for a period of time. This is not good for the government and the economy. This is why trade unions are so important and valuable for ensuring justice.
Some famous local trade unions are OWTU, PSA, TTUTA, and SWWTU. For the workers they represent, they have been able to get laws passed to ensure that our ancestors, parents, and ourselves, one day to come, can rest assured that as they work, they will be paid fairly. They will be paid for overtime hours. They will be entitled to sick leave, vacation leave, maternity benefits, and they will work in safe places. To honor these brave men who fought for equal rights and fair working conditions for all people in Trinidad and Tobago, we celebrate Labor Day every year on the 19th of June. This is the anniversary of the famous Butler Riots of 1937. Labor Day reminds us of these brave men who fought for justice at great costs. It inspires us, ourselves, to seek out those who are being treated unfairly in the world right now and fight for justice for them too. Some of them are voiceless like animals and children. All of them need brave men and women, boys and girls to fight for them no matter the cost.
Will you be brave? Will you stand up for justice, fairness, and proper treatment for all living creatures? What will you do?